Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers and friends at our all-day PHLY Streamathon. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the next hour. Joining me today, not only do we have Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle, we also have Jamie Lynch and from PHLY Sixers, Devon Givens. What's going on today, fam?
Puck guys, big puck guys, me and Devon.
All sorts of
puck guys.
Hey, man.
all sorts of puck knowers here today.
I used to go in the crease a lot after games, man. It's all good.
Yeah, you did do a lot in the creases.
In the creases, yes, I did.
Yeah, you and Jace. Great Jason Martinez.
Yeah,
awesome to see him on
yesterday. And now we have the other half. So absolutely perfect. We have a lot to get to off the top today. First of all, hit that freaking like button. Do it. We want the likes.
Yes.
Give us the likes.
Subscribe. Donate. Help us out here.
I require likes.
As we figured out earlier this week, there are no super chats. If you want to donate to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, you can do so right there below the chat box. There's a donation thing. You can hit it. Give as much as you want. I'm trying to win this all-city
we're winning
all-city competition. I want to take down those other cities.
Yeah, we're winning this. I think we took the lead over Chicago.
All right.
So I think we have
All
claimed the title. Now we just have to protect this house.
Yeah, just got to build on this lead now like the Panthers last night.
Elbows up, fam.
And we have some draft parties to tell you about. I have been telling you about ours for the last couple of weeks. Friday, June 27th at Chickies in South Philly. Make sure you go to allphly.com for your tickets. But we also have a Sixers draft party to tell you about.
Next Wednesday at the Boozy Mutt. Yes,
Nice.
the Boozy Mutt. Yes, we
like
get to
it.
hang out from 7 to 11 for the Sixers draft party. It's round one. We have round two. Of course, that will be on Thursday. That will be in studio for us on round two. But the Boozy Mutt, 2639 Poplar Street, presented by Rothman Orthopedics and True Mark. And we're going to have a blast, whether they're picking that third overall or a little trade back, whatever it might be. We will be talking about a lot of action on that night.
So yesterday, Danny Briere and Brent Flair, assistant general manager, met with the media ahead of the Flyers draft. And I actually wanted to ask Kelly about this, but I think it ties in with the Sixers as well. Now, especially since taking over here at PHLY, my Sixers knowledge has dropped dramatically. But Kelly, we were talking before the show about some of the things Danny Briere said, and the thing you liked most is they are not going to, as much as they've told us, they want to be a bigger team. They want to be a more physical team, physically imposing. Size isn't going to come into question. I think that was the thing you took most from that press conference.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that Danny said that I thought were the most interesting. That was the number one for me, was that they made it very clear that, like, yes, size is a factor, but that's not going to be the factor in the pick. So that leads me to believe that if a guy like James Higgins is there at 6, they're not going to hesitate to take him, because Danny said 1,000 times during that presser, we're taking the best player available with 6. We're not going to focus on position at 6. We're not going to focus on size at 6. We're taking the best player available because they know that's what they need. They need high-end talent. The other thing that he said that I thought was interesting was that he kind of acknowledged that with all of their picks that they have, they definitely have the opportunity to make some moves or to move up in the draft or maybe get a player. Like, they seem to be willing to mix it up. So it should be a really interesting draft for us, which means that you should definitely be at the party.
Do it. But
get there.
What I wanted to tie that into with the Sixers is the little I know. It seems as if, maybe the Embiid stuff, all that, but right now they kind of have these two smallish guards.
Yep.
Should size, like, we are just looking at the Flyers going, please just take a good player.
Yeah,
good. I don't care. But the Sixers are in a little bit different of a roster construction situation. Is size going to be a factor for them? I have no idea who the prospects, but, like, is that a thing you were looking to? Like, no, actually, they need to take that into account because of the way the team's constructed.
Yeah, size matters here for the 76ers.
Many people are saying.
Many people are saying that, Cal. So the thing with the Sixers, though, is where if we're talking just strictly size and we're looking at where the third overall pick is and the big boards that people have, you're looking at the Ace Bailey part of it where he's 6'8", and he just slides right in as a wing player that fits along those smaller guards. Of course, with Paul George, 6'8", and Joel Embiid, 7 foot, you're all good. But in this case, the measurements of VJ Edgecombe at the draft, where he measured in a little bit taller, so size matters, and that's what people are saying. At 6'5", that helps out where it's not 6'6", it's not 6'7", but it is a player with his profile. Even at 6'5", 6'6", plays the game a little bit bigger than he is. So with the defensive tenacity that he brings to the game, also being able to switch off on and defend those bigger guards opposite Tyrese Maxey and Jarrett McCain while he's out there, he can pick up that assignment. And that's where it's okay. So while it again may not be the one that you want in the Cooper Flag height, and even Dylan Harper, 6'5", 6'6" at the point guard position, VJ Edgecombe, it really worked out for the Sixers if he is the selection that 6'5" comes into play for him, which fits perfectly with them. And then if you also talk about bringing back Quentin Grimes as the restricted free agent, 6'5", can play both guard positions, has shown to compete on defense where that will also help out. So while you do have those two, at least you have some more height there with potentially VJ Edgecombe and certainly Quentin Grimes should he come back.
So the vibe that I get from basketball, more than hockey, is that there can be a situation in which one player can really change the trajectory of a team.
Right.
Like it's difficult in hockey, I think, for like one guy, unless it's Connor McDavid, to be good enough that you can like just say like, now that we have this guy, okay, now we're a playoff team. Third seems high to me. Is there a guy that you think could like really change the trajectory of the Sixers? Is anybody that good?
No, not.
Okay.
That's why we were going nuts on draft lottery night, where you were so close to get the number one overall pick, which is Cooper Flag, who would change the trajectory of the franchise. But again, Kel, many a nights we crossed paths where we were sitting here and we're both going nuts, all of us, because of how things are playing out.
Because of that season where we have both teams and everyone is rooting for both teams
losses.
to lose.
Yes. But going in, we weren't supposed to be in that position because we were talking about a playoff team again and potentially, based on their offseason last year, a championship caliber contending team. So this is all foreign to us this year because we haven't been in this spot to talk about the Sixers here. So that one player, though, was Cooper Flag. So in that sense, they're doing so for right now because they are still in win-now mode, whatever that means. They're in win-now mode, but also to make sure you take advantage of three is typically good, that you get someone that will go on, as we talk about trajectory with Maxey as a young player, McCain as a young player as well going forward. So they still have to hit on this pick to make sure that they get this one right.
So to Bill's point in the cross-sport references here, like with the Eagles, where they started getting in trouble was trying to be the smartest guy in the room and trying to reach and go get guys. If they're true to their board, you got to trust them, right?
Yeah.
Like, just take the best player available. Forget the size, forget the position. Like, I know we need a 1C eventually, all that stuff. Take the surefire
They just
thing.
need good players.
You just need good players. You need a foundation that's building up here. So don't overthink it.
And you need good young players when we were talking about the Sixers. And, of course, in the Flyers case, and the one thing that Daryl Morey did say, I know you're about to jump to something else, is that he wanted some young, athletic, long players this offseason because he felt like he failed that last summer when the guys got injured, didn't have those types of players. Yes, exactly. To keep keep their head above water, he didn't have enough of those.
Yeah, and speaking of championship caliber, we got some finality last night. The NHL season has come to a close, and the Florida Panthers, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, 3 straight appearances. They've won the last 2. I know we were hoping for a little bit of a different outcome. I was really just hoping for 7.
Yeah.
Like the way this series started, first 4 games, like 3 of them were classics.
Yeah.
And then
games
Edmonton,
5 and 6, it was just.
Were they gassed?
I gassed, and
The
Florida is
goaltending.
just so good. And the difference in goaltending.
They should get a guy like that Bobrovsky fella.
They should
that
probably
is-
get a
yeah,
goalie.
that would be a good,
Solid insight there.
I have been wanting to do today's main show topic. I've been wanting to do today's main show topic, like who's had it worse over the last, 10, 15, however long. Sixers fans or Flyers fans.
It's a good question.
It really is.
Great
and
question.
To me, that's what it comes down to. It's like we've seen these guys move on, and like the core of the 2011 team has now lifted the cup 6 times. And like I think that's the
Oh,
difference.
God,
but,
I never thought of it that
yeah,
way.
just like looking at this Florida team, like talking about, okay, just get as much talent as possible.
Yeah.
Like they had the core, and then they figured it out from there. Like, oh, they have this high-flying offense, and they're a ton of fun. You know what? That doesn't really win in the playoffs. Let's switch out some of these guys. Let's trade Huberdeau for Kachuk and figure it out after you accumulated the talent. But, Kelly, I just want a little about Florida before we move on to the main thing. They are unquestionably the favorites in the East next year. Now they have 3 big free agents.
Again.
I bet you they retain 2 of the 3.
I bet they're keeping 2, yeah.
I can't see a team in the East. It's hockey. Anything can happen. Like, it's pinball out there.
Yeah.
But, like,
Is it the most anything can happen sport?
it just
Probably,
I
right?
think there's
Like,
a
because
lot
the
more
goalie,
luck
like,
than people
sure.
want to acknowledge.
Any goalie, even like a mediocre one, can just go
Stand on his
such
head,
a
spin some
yes,
nickels on his
exactly.
forehead.
Like,
Yeah.
can go on such a run that we were better for 6 games, but we couldn't score, so the other team won. Like, that happens so often, but just they are the best team since when? Like, I know we just saw Tampa go
been
to
a long
3
time.
straight, so it's like, all right, we just saw it happen. But now they've won the 2 consecutively, and it looks like this team is going to basically stay together. They are so freaking good, and I don't see it, at least in the East, coming to an end anytime soon.
So I do feel like it's all going to depend a lot on what teams do to try to improve their position from this year. Like, for example, if the Maple Leafs make intelligent moves rather than just like going out and trying to find big bruisers because they think that's why they lost, like they could have a
They are
potential.
going to get one of the Florida free agents without question.
Oh, for sure. So, I mean, like, they could make some moves, I think, that could have them as kind of like a real competitive team in the East next year. A lot of that also falls on the goaltending. Like, I just don't, I don't think that we ever acknowledge, like, this final at the end of the day was Sergei Bobrovsky,
a $10.5
versus
million goalie,
Stuart Skinner,
versus
and Cal Pickard.
a waiver claim.
Yeah, like, I don't know if Edmonton was ever going to overcome that positional discrepancy. Like, it's just too big. And it's going to be very difficult, I think, for any team to find a goalie that's capable of being as good for as consistent a time as Bobrovsky is. Like, maybe the Rangers can do some stuff. They have Shesterkin. Like, he's really good. Like, maybe if he is hot, they could do something. I don't know. But it's hard to look at the way that Florida is constructed and the fact that, like you said, I think they're definitely going to keep at least 2 of those 3 guys
Because of tax reasons, Kelly.
because of taxes, naturally.
Is this
Stinking Florida.
Is this? I feel like this is a hockey-specific issue.
Yeah, do they talk
we
about
don't
taxes
hear
in
about,
basketball?
Like,
Yeah.
Does anyone
like the
talk about
tax-free
taxes?
states. Is that a thing in
Really?
the other sports?
Yeah.
Dallas, Miami, Texas,
Yeah,
Miami,
yeah.
Florida.
Even baseball, too. They
Baseball.
talked about the Texas Rangers throwing around those 2 huge deals, and people will do the side-by-side state comparisons to, like, Ohtani,
Yep.
Okay, so it's
who
not just
defers
us.
some. No,
We
it's not
defer-
just you guys.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So he defers a lot post-taxes so that he can go back to Japan and not get hit
Yes,
with the state
yes.
tax and yada, yada. The Rangers apparently were credited with some of that with the, their big acquisitions in Simeon and all those. Florida, Miami Heat are always coming up because of the weather and the
I feel
tax-free.
Like there's this combination for the Florida team specifically. Like everyone in the NBA
Yeah.
wants to just live in Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also no state income tax. Like
Exactly.
these things combine. Like Florida in hockey, it has everything. Everyone like yes, we don't pay state taxes. Also, there's
No one's looking at
No
us.
one cares.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store.
I
and
go out
no one
to dinner
knows.
with my
Hockey
wife.
players do not want
Unless I'm
anyone looking
wearing
at
my
them.
rings,
Yeah.
ain't no one know I'm a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, and like it's just all, and the weather and all like it all just kind of combines. But it has become such a conversation in hockey. Like I feel like I don't hear it about the other sports nearly as much.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing in the NBA
makes
when
me
it
feel
comes
a
to
little
that.
better.
Yeah. So, but how? Just to be a little ignorant, to the question, how did they do it? How did they put this together?
Okay, so I'm glad
for the
that you
two?
asked.
And why
I'm
didn't the
glad that you
Flyers
asked this
hire
question.
somebody
Yes,
from their
and why did they do
organization?
that?
Is my question.
Yes.
Okay, so I
That was-
really want to dig into this.
When they
because
hired Chuck
I saw
Fletcher,
I saw
it
the
could've
fire
been-
burning
Because,
in her
Right,
eyes.
it could've been.
I have a follow-up for the NBA to your
Okay.
to the okay.
So here's the thing: the NHL is a league full of copycats. No one's at all interesting or creative in any way, shape, or form. So they're all going to look at this Florida team and be like, how do we copy that exactly? And they're going to take the wrong lessons, because here's the thing that nobody talks about anymore. Do you remember when Florida was called the Computer Boys?
Yeah.
Like, their AGM is one of like the leading like
Analytics.
groundbreaking
They're an analytically
analytics
driven
guy.
team.
They're
They just also are dirty.
They're fourth
I love that combination. I love it.
their bottom six, that they pay practically nothing, is like scoring more than anyone else's bottom 6, because you have one of these like dreaded nerds is the guy in the front office
Yep.
that's making these kinds of moves, and it's not just like And what NHL jams are going to do is be like, oh, we need big boy. We need big boy smash. That's how you win in the playoffs. That's what we need to take away from this. Not like we need to have intelligent people who are looking at things outside of like box stats and what you can see with your eyeballs and like creatively putting together a team that has depth and has like scoring threats like up and down the lineup. And it's just like, I know in my soul that all they're going to do is we need Matt Tkachuk. That's the only thing that we could take away from this.
And the Flyers are in position to take advantage of that. Like,
yes.
Someone is going to want Rasmus Ristolainen, and he's a fine player. But they're going to, he's 6'2" and hits everybody. He's going to win us a cup. No, he isn't.
No, he isn't.
He's actually never been to the playoffs. Like,
really?
He's never been. And he was, was at the 2011 draft.
What is he, Corey Perry all of a sudden?
Exactly.
The opposite?
It's unfreaking believable.
It kind of is bizarro, Corey Perry. That's really funny, yeah.
The finality we here got in Philadelphia after last night is we no longer have to say the Flyers are picking at 6, 22, and then 31 or 32. We now at least know
31.
They'll be picking at 31. And I gotta give it to Danny, because last year it was they had the 32nd pick, and it was they just kind of deferred. Like, they didn't get anything for giving Edmonton that pick, but they get Edmonton's first next year. All right, and look at that, they traded up one. So I gotta give it to Danny. Well done. The worst possible outcome didn't happen. He could have had the 32nd pick again, but he moves up one. So I do have to little victory there for Briere. I got a bunch of that in my notifications last night. Like, another Danny win. Like, you know what? I'll give it to him. He moved up without giving anything up.
So you guys tell me. You talk about the blend of analytical versus kind of like old school, dirty type of guys that you need. What is the Flyers' direction? Like, are they a blend of the two? Is the answer somewhere in the middle? Is there one path that's better than the other? Like,
and
talk
who's
to me
what?
like
Talk
to me like I'm five.
Is
here.
Briere one way where Jonesy's the other?
Yeah.
Or
Are they a good
I
mix?
think so.
Yeah.
I think it is a good mix. Like, Danny Briere, like, we've heard Keith Jones, he's told us in our conversations with him, he's like, we need to get bigger. Like, we know that this team needs to be bigger and more physical. And to some extent, absolutely. But also, the general manager is 5'8", and one of the best playoff performers I've ever seen. Like, led the 2010 playoffs in scoring. Like, had basically every playoff of his career one of the better scorers.
If you give me a bunch of small Danny Brieres, I'm good with that.
So I do think they are a blend, and like the way Danny came up, like he went and got Comcast sent him basically to business school to get his MBA.
Right.
And like he's learned in different parts of organizations.
I love that.
What a perk.
I think it is like they do have a good blend. I don't know if they're going to be a Florida, like a copy of Florida. Like I don't think that's in the cards just based on how they're built already.
Yeah.
But they're gonna
again,
they do recognize they need some of it.
You don't have to be, right?
I don't think you do. Yeah, like there are other ways to do it, and it's hard to see that when this team has won 2 in a row. But the Flyers, I think, I mean, like, to be clear, you do need the players that the nerds say are good, and you do need the big smash guys too. Like, you definitely need both. You can't field an NHL team that's all dudes that are 5'8" and shorter. Like, it's not going to work. But there needs to be, and we've said this a million times on our show, like, the priority has to be good. Like, get
100%.
good players.
Yes.
If you have the choice between a mediocre player that's 6'3", 250, and a really good player that's 5'8", 185, you need to take the good guy right now because we don't have enough good guys.
And figure it out.
And it does seem like, based on what we've seen so far, that Briere is willing to prioritize talent over size, because here's the thing. You can find a big dude anywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere in the NHL. You can fill out your bottom of the lineup with a bunch of big, smashy guys, but it's real hard to get players that are good.
Yeah.
And the market, like, okay, what's the problem with Mitch Marner? Well, he doesn't really perform in the playoffs. He's going to be a free agent and get $14 million.
That's fake,
like,
by the way. He's got like a point a game in the playoffs.
like,
people are so
there
weird.
will always be that market. Okay, this guy doesn't quite fit, so we're going to move. Someone will want that guy because he's just good. Like, we're seeing it happen in real time. Like, when July 1st comes, Mitch Marner's going to be the highest paid player in the league history.
I'm waiting for the takes of like I wouldn't want to sign Connor McDavid because he can't get it done in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He disappeared.
He
disappeared in games 5 and 6.
Couple of Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
But that's the like we're going to give
Can't get
Florida
it done.
all this credit for being awesome, and it's like, McDavid really came up small. Like, well, which is it? Like, are they this amazing team,
I'll
or
take
did
my
the other
chances
guy
with
just,
him. I'll
just
take
S
my
his
chances.
pants?
So
Like,
Ed Wright in the chat says Florida's build began in 2013 with Barkov. Are we going to look back 5-6 years from now and say Michkov was
I think so.
was the building?
Yes.
That is the building block I think that this team is going to have to stand on.
They absolutely, just based on their plan, like, they have the 6th pick. This is the highest they plan on drafting. Now, it could always,
Is he the most essential flyer since,
could always go the
Lindros.
other way.
Lindros?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pressure, kid.
Especially just in terms of, like, building around.
Yeah.
Like, Claude Giroux was a happy accident.
Sure.
Like, Bob
Yes.
Clark went up to the podium after 3 straight guys they wanted to draft got drafted and
Didn't know
forgot
his
Claude
name.
Giroux's name. He was like, wait, who?
He was, in the cup
Claude.
run, he was a third-line depth player. Like,
in
he
terms
wasn't
of-
the guy.
In terms of a guy
Yeah.
that they're going to build around, Michkov, first since Lindros.
Yeah.
This sort of pressure and this kind of building block. All right. Speaking of, I don't have a segue. We're just going to take
Speaking
our
of
first.
building
our
blocks.
clients are
Yeah.
the building blocks
Yes.
of our
Yeah,
company.
There you go.
Yeah.
See,
There you go.
I have other.
That's the good
this
stuff.
is,
Yeah.
Now I have other radio professionals with me, and I don't look nearly as good at this when other people know what they're doing. All right, we gotta take a quick break, and we're gonna lead it off with our friends at Bet365 because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. From their 90 million users worldwide to their almost 800,000 live stream events each year, and you know I love those early payouts. Say you had Florida on the money line in what was that game 4?
I did not.
Say you
did
had
not.
them. They get up the 3-goal lead. You win. Boom. No problem. You cash that out, and then, hey, Edmonton came back. You got to sweat it out. No, you don't, because with Bet365, you get those early payouts across the NHL and now the NBA as well. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do, you got to sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, whether your initial bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. It works in Jersey, too. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. While we're here, I got to tell you about Cherry Hill Jeep. That's right, because if you're looking for a Jeep or Ram truck, there's only one dealership in South Jersey who has been the market leader since 1967. As long as the Flyers have existed, Cherry Hill Jeep, they've been in the lead. My friends at cherryhilljeep.com have you covered on the best selection, but more importantly, the best prices. And just because Memorial Day is past doesn't matter. They are celebrating Memorial Day savings all month long. So slide into a Jeep Grand Cherokee this month. Not only is it the most awarded SUV ever, it was also named Motor Week's best mid-size utility vehicle for the past 2 years in a row. Back-to-back champs like those Florida Panthers. That's in addition to being a 2024 IIHS top safety pick. Or you can always maybe pull away in the most luxurious and functional pickup truck on the market today, the 2025 Ram 1500, which just received the most coveted award in the pickup truck industry, 2025 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. So stop in today and tell them PHLY sent you, and you'll receive an additional $1,000, $1,000 for your trade-in. I know people buy Jeep and Ram trucks elsewhere. I just don't know why. Drive home in your new Jeep or Ram truck today, just minutes from all bridges, or available online 24/7 at cherryhilljeep.com.
I like
Did they
that
get
camera
tired
angle.
of you saying Mitsubishi?
That is pretty cool.
I think
couldn't take it anymore?
I
Okay.
think they're done with me mispronouncing the other
Mitsubishi.
car. So
Yeah,
it's just
okay.
it's always gonna be Cherry Hill Jeep now. I
I
can't say
think it's great.
Mitsubishi.
Can't say
Apparently,
Mitsubishi. You say Mish.
Mitsubishi.
Mish.
Is
Mitsubishi.
this wrong?
Say it again.
Mitsubishi.
I can't take it. It's too funny.
Mishkawabishi.
Mitsubishi.
Yeah, so you can say all the hockey names, but you can't say Mitsubishi.
What is that
Mitsubishi.
You can't say the hockey names either. It's a running gag. It's so good.
I'm Captain Mispronounced.
The things
so,
I
like,
can't
I love to see
say.
others
Yeah.
struggle.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm there
Part
too.
of
There's
your
some-
charm, honestly.
Yeah, no, like if I said it right, what fun would that be?
None.
Listen, none
for
at
me.
all.
I sometimes I get some of the handles for the names on Twitter and all that stuff where I'm
our
all screwed
mailbags.
up.
I'm
I'm like,
those
you
are
know
bad.
what?
Super chats. I'm
Kyle,
like,
you got that one.
Charlie
Yeah,
Kelly, you
said
gotta read
that
me this
name, man. I don't need
Baseball names, I butcher. Oh.
And that's when it's an athlete's name is the worst because now everyone's like,
you
he doesn't
don't
even know
watch
these
this
guys.
game?
Like, no, man, I don't know Seattle's third line that well. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Like, it's not something I have
And
down.
you're my hockey guy?
Jeez.
I got it. Don't worry about it. Mr. Hockey right here. I got it. And I'll say Mitsubishi for
that
Bill.
was
I got it
amazing.
covered.
Cherry Hill Jeep today.
There you go.
They're done with me
How do
trying
you
to
say crayon? Do you say crown or crayon? Because I always get roasted because I'm a crown guy. And
Yeah.
now that we-
Crown?
Crayon.
And now that we
Crayon.
have kids, my wife like sends me dagger eyes anytime I'm like, oh, grab the crowns.
My niece yells at me for water.
Water,
Like, you're
yeah, my-
7.
But see-
Stop correcting
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
My mom and Ann are big water
Shut up,
people.
kid.
Yeah.
I'm a water person.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
We all
you're
have our
super
things,
smart
Bill.
here. You are, 7-year-old. Say
Like, that corrective
water.
stuff ain't going to play in school. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No narking, kid.
That's right. You're gonna call Uncle Bill soon for that. Yeah.
All right, so the thing I wanted to get at, I've been wanting to do this for like 2 years. Who has had it harder, Flyers fans or Sixers fans?
Me
Like
personally.
we can go back. We can go back as far as really you want because the teams kind of had their golden era in the same kind of time. The Flyers win back-to-backs in '74 and '75, lose in the final in '76. They've been to a whole bunch. They went to a whole bunch and lost in the '80s, a couple of times since. The Sixers, they win in '83. They lost in '77, '80, '82, '01. And that's kind of really, like, they haven't maybe had the postseason success, but I feel like the Sixers have had a prolonged run of relevancy that has escaped the Flyers the last, 15 years.
So naturally, when you talk about something like that, obviously 2001 comes up.
Yes.
But in between that, you also go into the rebuild. And that's where we are right now. Talking
Joel
about the
Embiid's what,
Flyers.
his 10th year already?
Yeah, he's in the year 10. He was drafted in 2014. Lucky at pick number 3, but it hasn't worked out the luck way that you really, really hoped it would. But
10 years.
So the rebuild is where you really go to and you talk about this era of Sixers basketball until they get past where you want them to be, which is past that second round, get to the NBA Finals. It's always going to come up of the fact that the rebuild. And then, Kel, when you were talking about how certain teams, you can't do it one way versus the other. And then the Sixers did their rebuild. Oklahoma City also did their rebuild. And here they are where they just collected talent. They just collected a bunch of talent.
Did they ever take 3 centers in a row?
They never took 3
that's a
centers
bold
in a row, at
strategy.
least at the top. At least at the top. But, yeah, so when
why
you,
was Sam Hinkie considered a war criminal and Sam Presti isn't?
because he was the first one to really do
Okay,
it that
yeah,
way,
lucky
and
us.
it didn't look good.
Yeah.
And maybe it was also the big market,
It's
where
the
the Sixers
market,
are the
yeah,
market,
that's-
and Oklahoma City is that smaller market, so you can kind of get away with it. And so trial and error of how the league wants to handle it and
Lucky
go about
Sam.
it. So yeah, I think a lot of it does just simply go back to the rebuild and how they went about it. How things happened from Burnergate with the general manager.
Oh, that was so funny.
Right?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah, it was a
man.
good time.
I'm still waiting for the
until
30
it
for 30.
wasn't,
Yeah.
Right? The missed draft picks that when you do build all of that capital, you miss on the number 1 pick with Ben Simmons while it worked out for a few years. He flamed out. It didn't. Markelle Fultz, another number 1 pick, did not work out. And Jason Tatum is now the one on the back end who won a championship as a superstar in the NBA. All of that stuff. So I think that it's one of the tougher ones to just talk about, which is why I know you guys do a lot of what if, we do a what if of things that they missed on.
Yeah.
And the missed draft picks, the traded guys, the players who are in NBA right now. TJ McConnell, currently
So-
an undrafted role player
quick,
playing
what-
a real role on
what-
the Indiana Pacers that was a Sixers guy.
What is the Flyers Tatum Fultz situation? What's the worst one?
Is it Kane?
Yeah, like that is just
Because
losing
that
out.
one, like
That's the one that always stands out to
on
me.
the
The
front
Flyers
of
went
everyone's mind.
in
Is
06,
it Nolan Patrick?
Yeah, like 06-07, the Flyers went 22 and 60
Maker
and
or
lose the
McCall
lottery
right after him?
And I think Chicago was like the 5th worst team, and
Yeah.
they get Patrick Kane, who goes on to be one of the great players of his era,
And beats the Flyers.
And like,
Yeah.
Right?
I was
had the
standing on the
goal
ice
that
when they were
actually,
skating around with
like,
that cup
right.
for
like
NBC.
defeated them individually. But I think like the Sixers have like the misses. You can go all the way back.
Unquestionable.
Yeah, like you could go back to the Larry Hughes draft, like all the way back then, and what if we got this guy? What if it was Tatum?
You can go back to the late 80s, early 90s where Charles Barkley, Brad Daugherty, they wanted.
Sure.
And they decided because he did not have a good workout with the owner in his driveway.
Yeah.
On concrete.
Yeah.
That he decided that he did not want to take the number 1 overall pick, and there you go.
Well, that sounds like a choice.
That's a good choice.
And I think like the Sixers have had like, oh man, we just messed up that draft. Whereas the Flyers, like I said at the top, they've had the guys, and then somehow, some way, they've gotten away. Like Sergei Bobrovsky.
Oh, just a Hall of Fame goaltender he gave away because the owner was itchy to make a move and go with a vet?
Because
like that type of thing?
His rookie season in which he
was
excellent.
good.
He was excellent.
He was good.
And they couldn't, like, they tried to ask him, like, hey, what's the most games you've ever played in a row? And, like, he couldn't tell them because he didn't speak any freaking English. Like, his girlfriend couldn't get a freaking green card. And like
he was undrafted, too.
Yeah, like, you found this guy.
It was
this thing you needed so bad.
Yeah.
And then one off season, the owner just goes, yeah, we need to go pay Brizgalov. So Bob goes, well, trade me or I'm going back to Russia and you lose me for nothing.
Yeah.
So
And,
that's
like,
what
you
it
have
was. It
that
was the
guy.
ultimatum.
And now he's won 2 Vezinas as the best goalie and he's won 2 cups. Like,
Unbelievable.
there's 6 guys ever who've done that.
Hey, go back to
Bernie is one of them.
Go back to for the Sixers with Iguodala, who became this Olympian and 4-time NBA champion.
Perfect role player.
Perfect role player for what he did, and he found that in Golden State, where you go back to again, can you beat the Golden State Warriors? Can you duplicate? No, because there's only one Steph Curry. But you put the other pieces around, and one of them just happened to be, at that time, he was supposed to be one of your franchise key pieces, not in the role of the face, but maybe your 2 or your 3. He goes there and finds the perfect role with the Golden State Warriors and is talked about as a Hall of Famer because of it.
And now his kid's getting drafted, going to Baylor,
He's
right?
going to Baylor.
That's
committed
how
to
old
Baylor.
we are.
Yeah,
all
that's
of a
how old we
sudden.
are, guys.
That's when I saw.
That's how old he is, not us. We're good.
The kids.
We age the same rate
I
as
don't
him.
age.
Yeah,
The
thank
kids
you, Phil.
getting
True, yeah.
drafted this year are some 06s, but mostly 07s. And I'm like, I graduated high school in 07.
Unacceptable.
No, I refuse to accept this as the reality. But I think like who has had it harder? The question comes down to
a great question,
especially in terms of recent history.
Yeah.
Would you rather be mad or not care? Because the Sixers have given
Man.
us
I think
so much.
atrophy is worse.
Yeah, like the Sixers have given us
think
so
so,
much
too.
to be mad about. I was on the air over at WIP after that Game 7 loss to the Celtics where they just didn't show up 2-3 years ago. Just got manhandled. Every caller
That was Mother's Day Sunday, wasn't it?
Every caller furious. No Flyers calls that day. You know, and like we don't.
Yeah.
It's not as if they were the rights holders.
Right.
Like I was driving in, listening to the other station, listening to the game,
Thank
and then
you.
come back. Yeah.
I was doing post-game.
I used to care about that stuff.
Then I'm on WIP, and everyone's calling up mad about it.
Yeah.
Like Flyers fans haven't even had the opportunity to be mad for the most part in. My God, I mean, 2012. That was a long freaking
That's why
time
it's a
ago.
great question, because the expectations
Yeah,
that
like
the Sixers have had,
expectations-
the Flyers never really, outside of a couple special years.
Like the Sixers have gotten out of the planning stage.
Yes.
For the first, and the Flyers have seemed to have been in it. For
they were
10
stuck
years.
in it for a long time.
So during the process, which was essentially, if I understand it correctly, just tanking
Tear
to
it
get
down.
good players.
Tear it down,
Right.
yep.
Which is what a large portion of the Flyers fan base wanted the Flyers to do. Completely tear it down and start from scratch. Was there apathy during that period, or were people kind of like embracing the idea of having a plan and executing it?
It's a large portion of people who love the idea. Another portion that did not like the idea.
I loved it.
Yeah.
This was a tremendous sports radio debate. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
it was
It was the
unbelievable.
are you
ultimate.
for or
Yeah.
against the process?
and
and
again,
then just go
we
to the
all
phones for
understand
4
it.
hours.
I
Right.
just didn't want them to do it that way. So yeah,
It's so
I
interesting
see-
because hockey fans are obsessed with the idea of tear down rebuilds.
Devon was too rational for sports radio because he would be like, I understand it.
I understand it, but
I
here's
don't
how you
like
should
it.
do
And it was
it
like,
because I
where's
don't
your
like
take, man?
Hot takes only.
That was my take. I didn't like it. Here's why.
Yours was practicality.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, we talk about it. You just named it. There's a name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how popular it was and still is today. And there's a lot of people already saying, let's do it again. Because I'm tired of the second round losses.
I can't
I'm
handle
sick
it
of this
again.
part. I'm sick. I don't want it. And I didn't want it then. I don't want it now.
That's
This
the-
year I embraced it, as we would talk about, because it was a
Well,
unique
once you're in it,
circumstance.
yeah,
we
like-
were in it of, these guys are not going to win. And they need to protect that pick, which no one cared about because it was supposed to be in the 20s at the beginning of the season. Now, hey, you might have to try to keep this one, and there's a pretty good talent pool coming into the NBA from college next year. Do it. Do it now. But for me, the whole thing of tear it down and start over 4 or 5 years of that, I didn't like it.
And that's when this rebuild started, I thought the Flyers were misguided. I wanted to tear it all the way down, start fresh, everything new.
Do your job, Bill, as the general manager.
And fix it. And now, after just a couple years of them, 2 of the last 3 years, they've been terrible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine signing up for 5 years of this. And, maybe if I was able to check out, this is my job, so, you have to.
Yeah, you can't check out.
You're not allowed to check out,
Right.
maybe. But I feel like fans are always up for it until it's happening.
Right, until
Now,
it's March and
but
you've
the
been
Sixers
slogging through the season.
had at least the small contingent that got super hardcore into it.
Yeah.
And at least that was okay. There's a plan.
The
and we're gonna
revolutionaries.
we're going to go from A to B to C here.
Yeah.
Whereas the Flyers have just kind of been stuck in neutral. But I cannot imagine signing up for that now. As much as I wanted it 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm
It's
good.
difficult.
Let's go sign free agents.
It's
let's
difficult
do something dumb.
because we all do this because we grew up loving sports because you love the sport, you love the competition of it and all, but it's the winning that you
Sure.
love. And when you're sitting there, like a season that we were supposed to watch with the basketball team, supposed to be another 50-win season, see if you finish in the top 3, can you compete in the East, take down Boston, and get to the NBA Finals finally, right? And it didn't happen. And they've been getting to the second round over and over again. The rebuild started because they were always that middling team that was in the 40, 42, 44 win range, but you weren't going to win anything. So I understood it. Again, rational. I got it.
Damn you and your rationality, Devon.
I get it. But it all comes down to you want to see them win. So, yeah, they weren't intentional in trying to lose the way that they were, and that's why it becomes such a chore for you guys to have to deal with that. When all right, I want to see some wins now.
Yeah,
and
let me
it's so
feel
bad
good
that-
again.
Yeah, you didn't even tear it down, and you're still sitting in this mud. And so I get it 100%. And with all the Flyer fans watching your shows and seeing how all of your the community reacts to things, it is nuts that the way that you guys have to deal with it, with how they're doing it, and then. The coaches, you think you're bringing in one coach and that one's going to work out. Okay, you go to college and you get this guy. He doesn't work out. Then you bring in a respected Stanley Cup winning coach and his doesn't work out because he's not on the timeline.
He
lost
lost me
to
with
win.
the whole bench and Michkov thing.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
stop
Right.
it. You
Knock
I'm
it
out.
off.
I'm out.
Yeah, so
Let the
and
kid
that,
play.
so that's where at least the casual in me, even though I'm Mr. Hockey, the casual in me like the idea of Keith Jones and Danny Briere coming in. Okay, there's a plan now.
Right.
There's a plan to it, and how soon will you get there?
Yeah, and I'm happy they finally seem to have this plan because it did seem so stuck in neutral for so long. It's the classic. It's a retool, Charlie. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't, Chuck Fletcher. You're a bad team. You added a couple of guys. You added nobody of any substance.
So-
in what way did you retool?
Who did the most damage to the organization in the past 15 years?
Man.
Was it Chuck Fletcher? Was it
I would say Ron Hextall.
Ron Hextall?
Yeah.
The end.
Disappointing.
Paul Holmgren? There's a
Like
whole
the
list
end-
of
like
characters.
Paul
Holmgren's tenure was good
was
overall.
so good until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was even when he messed up, okay, we gave up a first-round pick for Christopher Stieg, didn't work out. You flipped him to Florida, got a third. You got Shane Gostisbehere with that third-round pick. He's a first-round caliber
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
Even when he messed up, and then a couple of things went wrong, and he started chasing his tail because nobody wanted to admit that they weren't good enough.
Yeah.
It's no, if we just here and there, no. Chris Pronger got hurt. You made some trades you shouldn't have. Things went wrong, and you probably needed to start it back then. And it's just now that they're realizing, we need to rebuild. And it's been this long slog.
Hextall. It's always one of your own, isn't it?
Yeah, to
Yeah.
be fair, it wasn't just Hextall because
Sure.
he had a plan that made sense. He was trying to rebuild the team. I don't think that the front office at that time
Snyder
wanted him
and
to
or
do
Comcast were
Yeah,
like,
they
you
didn't
can't
want
Pulling
him
in
to-
two different
You
directions.
can't
on the same
lose.
page.
Yeah,
And then-
yeah.
and
That
then
kills a team.
Also,
Giroux was good enough to get you to the playoffs.
Sure.
So you're only going to draft so high.
in hindsight, he was not a great drafting GM. Most of his picks were busts.
If your plan is to draft and develop, you need to hit a few out of the park.
Yeah,
and
he
it
didn't
went
hit
the
any.
other way.
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
all fly balls
All
to the
busts.
shortstop.
So,
Yeah.
Bill, answer the question. Who had it worst?
I've been
I don't know if there's a right answer.
I don't think so.
It's really tough, and I just think because
the pain is the same.
Like,
it's pain.
Just
There's just pain.
Different types
watching
of pain.
these playoffs,
Exactly.
Broken bone versus stitches.
yeah, like watching these last few Stanley Cup playoffs and the Flyers just not even being in them. It's like as bad as losing in the second round and feeling like you have this cap on the Embiid era Sixers.
Yeah.
Like at least you got those runs, and like as much as we'll remember, like yeah, man, if Simmons just takes it to the hole, it's like, but at least you have that. The Flyers, it's like yeah, they just weren't good enough, and we'll see you in the fall again.
Yeah.
like that's and
But
I
that
think
pain-
it's been the Flyers that have had it the worst. But
Probably.
I have been like my friend Frankie. I always call him my collaborator. I'm talking
up,
about
Frank?
Yeah, I'm talking to him about it last night.
What do
He's
you
like,
say,
no,
Frank?
man, it's the Sixers. Like they got out of the planning stage and like had these expectations, and it's just a punch in the gut all the time. I was like, yeah, but I think I'd rather get punched than be unconscious.
Well, I mean, like to take the other side of the coin, I wasn't disappointed in the Flyers this season. Like
No.
I knew this was where we were going to be last season too. Like for the last 5 years, I haven't been sitting here thinking. Like I mean, every summer I go into it being like, yeah, they're making the playoffs next year. Like it's definitely happening, and I genuinely believe that until we get to about like February, and then like, oh no, never mind. But I think that like expecting the team to be good and then them being garbage, like
That's
is
on
way
us.
harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way harder.
One thing that I didn't account for by the time the season came to an end, and Colin and Derek had said this, we were debating this one day, was this was, I would say, arguably one of the most disappointing and worst seasons in history. They're like, no, this is the worst in team history and organizational history, and then it's right up there in NBA history of disappointment. When you look back at things. So to your point, yes, if Simmons does this and he takes that shot against the Hawks in Game 7, if he shows up offensively in that run period.
If Toronto didn't have magnets in the
Kawhi,
ball,
you
they
know,
could
Kawhi
quadruple
doesn't do
it.
that.
if he has the Vince
That's the
Carter
one.
and bricks it,
You
like,
mentioned
you know,
Game 7 of Boston. If
They just
you
show
just
up.
win in Game 6 at home
Yes.
and close it out, you
Yeah.
advance. So we're talking 3 different scenarios that, while, yes, you have those memories, they burn deep. Of people bring those up immediately
Yes.
as to why we're now discussing, should you move on from Joel Embiid? Should you move on to Tyrese Maxey? Is it time to accelerate a retool here
So I'm
with this basketball
I'm at the point
team?
where probably Flyers fans were with Giroux. Like some people probably like just go down with the ship at this point. Like you're not going to get a fair return in a trade. I'm at the point with Embiid where I'm like just go down with the ship. Like we're probably
problem
going down,
is,
but like I feel like we're
yeah.
going to get fleeced in any trade. He's probably only going to play 40 games a year. Like I'm just like just go down with the ship, whatever.
I'm not there yet.
I want to continue this conversation in a couple of minutes, but first we got to pay some bills, and I got to tell you about Golden Nugget Jewelers, because for the past 30 years, Golden Nugget Jewelers has operated out of that very same location at 8th and Chestnut, but customers from all across PA, Jersey, even Maryland, NYC, from all over, they've come to Golden Nugget to find the perfect engagement ring or wedding band. And why? It's because they have the experts that give you that personalized shopping experience. Take it from me, I have been on that engagement ring hunt before. You don't know what you're doing, guys. You have no idea color, cut, clarity, what any of this even freaking means. You just want to make sure, hey, I'm spending the most I've ever spent on anything. I don't want to get ripped off. I want to make sure this is as great of a ring as it can be, and that's why you got to go to Golden Nugget Jewelers, because they have that vast selection of engagement rings, wedding bands, along with other high-end jewelry like watches, sparkling diamond necklaces, bracelets, so much. And when you get that engagement ring, you'll receive a final cleaning and written appraisal with every purchase. Golden Nugget Jewelers, they've been a family-owned and operated business since 1987. You know you can trust them. You deserve an expert and the best price. Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Visit goldennuggetjewelry.com today to learn more. And while we're here, got to tell you about Ace Hardware Home Services, because they got that. That's right. If you have an outlet you said you'd fix last summer, guys, give it up. You're not watching one more YouTube video. You're not watching one more YouTube video and then becoming an electrician. It's not going to happen. That's why you got to go to Ace Hardware Home Services, because not only do they have the tools and the hardware to get the job done, they've got the person to get the job done as well, because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repair folks. From plumbing and electrical to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long at Ace Hardware Home Services. They're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. From Philly, to the Jersey Shore. I love this read. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Close YouTube. Not now, but if you're trying to learn how to fix something, just go to Ace.
Just go to Ace.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
Hey, the commenters want to know who's winning back there. Bo has the lead.
Bo
has the lead.
All right. Yeah, we don't have the leaderboard up here anymore. I wanted
It's
to,
in the back over there.
It's in the
It
back.
has changed.
So
Derek is now the leader
Derek
at
is-
151.
What?
151.
148 was the previous?
148 by Rich. Kyle had 145, I believe. I'm still stuck on 143.
Oof. So
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship played a lot when they were in
No
here
shot.
recording.
One time I hit like 10.
They asked what the record was.
Yeah.
And I told them, and their jaws dropped.
Exactly. They don't want.
they don't want
none of
the
this.
heat.
They don't want this. No, they don't want this.
Yeah.
You guys are
those
more than
exciting
welcome.
mics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close personal friend Brenna, of course, of Reed and Cooper
Yes.
now.
Yeah, they
could tell you,
keep
they
trying
don't
to
want the
steal my
smoke.
producer, and I won't allow it. Damn it.
Yeah,
They will
knock it
be-
off, professional athletes.
Exciting L's if they try to come in and challenge us on the Papa Shop.
Kelly, I wanted to bring this up to you just as that 2011 core.
Yeah.
I didn't at the time, 12, 13-year contracts, whatever the hell they were.
Yeah.
You know, Richard's deal would have expired after the 2019-20 season.
Wow.
And Jeff Carter's would have
Wow.
expired
Wow.
after 21-22.
Wow.
Like, they could have had this group together because those two won 2 cups together in L.A. and now Bob,
Well, they're
a pair
still-
of cups in Florida.
They're still paying Briz
Yeah,
till
they're
next
still paying
year.
Briz.
Next
So,
year,
yeah.
right?
2027.
Yeah, that's good.
There's a Broad Street Hockey article scheduled to go out. Through the blog changing hands, like
This is
SB
the day.
Nation, and now it's Kelly.com.
Now it's just Kel. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to keep it going at least
It has
until
to stay
that
alive
freaking
at least
thing
until that
publishes.
thing posts.
That's awesome.
Is blowing that team up the worst thing that's happened to us in the last
So
20
last
years?
night
I
I
think
threw
it
out
is.
my Bob take to
Yeah,
the
of
hockey
course.
universe. And people were like, well, he wouldn't have developed here the same. They didn't have the right teams in place. None of these teams were Stanley Cup. There's a scenario where he stays and that core you're talking
Yep.
about stays.
Yep.
And the Claude Giroux kind of gold on top cherry, all that stuff converges into a better title run, right?
That's the thing. Imagine, 2018 Claude Giroux instead of 2010 Claude Giroux, like with those guys.
And Bob
Yeah,
and
as
And
your-
Bob and Net. Like, that's 100% a contending hockey team. And they just completely borked it.
And that's that's why I think it's been harder for Flyers fans, simply because we watched, we had the guys, and now they are, the Flyers are, in the grand scheme of things, kind of irrelevant. Like, we were talking about the 4for4 fan on Gargano earlier this morning, and I just don't think there's that much. Like, we have so many of our commenters, so much of our core audience, they're Flyers fans, and they're not from here.
Yeah.
They're not, they're not.
You
guys are big in Canada.
4for4. We're huge in Australia and New
Yeah, I
Zealand.
love that.
But I just feel as if they have fallen off the face of the earth in Philadelphia.
They have, for sure.
They've become irrelevant to a point. Now it's coming back. Matvei Mishkov and the new era of Orange and everyone loves Jonesy. It's coming back, but the Sixers have at least been in the public consciousness for the last 15 years in a way that the Flyers haven't.
I feel like there's definitely more Sixers casuals than
Yes.
there are Flyers casuals. At this point,
100%.
the Flyers are down to the sickos who live and die by every game and pretty much nobody else. And it's going to take them a little while, I think, to get back to having just people casually turning into a Flyers game on a Tuesday night.
I am that
'cause there's
casual fan, and I can tell you the
love
last
that.
2-3 years, I haven't been watching as much.
No.
But,
Why would
but
you?
Michkov gave me a little bit of that.
A little something, yeah.
Yeah, something to stake a flag into. Who's going to be his counterpart? Who's going to be his Draisaitl to McDavid? Who's going to be that guy that goes with him? Is it Zabragin? Is it a Jet?
Maybe
Is
it's
it
Jet.
who? Give me some hope here.
I am.
Maybe
give me
it's
a
the kid they
lifeline.
take this- they
I
take-
am hoping it's one of the goalies that they have, because that just changes so much
That
for a
changes
team.
everything.
Even the Florida Panthers, now they do have, again, the tax advantage, and people want to live in Florida.
Come on, Josh Shapiro, step it up here.
Yeah, save us,
does work for
please.
them. But even Bobrovsky on what is kind of a bad contract. It wasn't a great contract when he
It
signed
looked
it at the
real
time.
bad for a couple of years.
He's good enough that it doesn't really matter if he's on a bad contract, because goalies have such an outsized impact on the game. So I'm hoping the other guy with Mishkov is Zvragin or Carson Bjarnason.
I hope so.
Because
Bjarnason, I like that name. I'm
man,
in.
it's going to be fun.
I'm in on that.
But like, there's not
Mitsubishi.
Yeah, you can say Bjarnason, but you can't say Mitsubishi.
I don't know what it is.
Bjarnason.
There you go.
Yeah, like,
Crush that one.
I'm hoping
I got
it's
nothing
that.
on Bjornsson.
Because like we've seen it with the Sixers. Like, okay, they have the 1A. Like, getting that second guy is so hard.
But see, they've had the 1A, and then they've had a 2, another 2, another 2, and it just simply again has not happened from the Simmons piece, Jimmy Butler coming in, James Harden, who again was a big part of that series 3-2 advantage going into the Game 6 against Boston, but also flamed out in the Game 7, and Tyrese Maxey with where we are right now, spending the money and last summer to get Paul George. So they've had the 3 guys, and they still have been unable to. But that also goes to the rebuild, Kel, of do you need 3 superstars or do you need 2 superstars and a collection of talent where you have the depth that you mentioned a little bit earlier? And so that's where it comes in the play of, do you do it one way versus another, and what is the right way? The right way is you winning.
That's the thing. The right way is the
You
one
win,
that works.
and you make them conform to you now. Where now you're talking about them trying to rebuild to stop you. So that's where this whole thing is fun. It's interesting, frustrating at the same time with these 5 years for the Flyers and all. And then to the casual part. We've all sat here. We've all talked on radio in the way of, we're on the radio, and then the casual Flyer fans. The Flyer fans in there, and they don't want the casuals to come in sometimes. Why are you not talking about them as much? And it's a whole weird dynamic between, to your point, of the Sixer fans. Where I'm like, come on in, let's talk about it. But
weirdest bunch of
everyone
people.
wants hockey to be mainstream, and then when someone starts
But
talking
also-
about it, they get mad.
You can't.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't talk
you don't
about
know
that.
who was the MVP in 1993?
Yeah.
I don't, but I'm enjoying this.
Like,
Right.
it's really fun. Like, watch a hockey game. It's cool, man. I definitely should have hit this before there were 7 minutes left in the show, but for everyone who hung till the end, thank you. You get a little bonus here.
Ooh.
We have a ticket giveaway to announce.
Do we?
All you have to do to win a pair of club box
Ooh.
seats for a Flyers game this coming season. Name the date. All you have to do is just DM the PHLY Sports Twitter account with the word Flyers. Very simple.
Can I enter?
Keyword Flyers, and you are entered
No.
to win a pair of club box
Put a
seats
different
to a
name in.
Flyers game this
My
coming
burner.
season.
Yeah.
Make sure you do. Yeah, sure.
She's my
Why not?
burner. Yeah.
Put down Brian Colangelo. You'd be good.
That's. I would get giveaways from WIP from Big Daddy Graham, and he was like, "Just put it under a friend's name. I'm giving you 2 tickets. Hey, don't use your own name.
Just give it to a friend.
You got a friend, Mike? All right, it'll be under Mike's name." Like that. But yeah, DM the word Flyers to the PHLY Sports account, and you are entered to win the tickets. I want to know if because. Our co-host, Charlie O'Connor, he was on the writer's block before this.
Love Charlie.
He believes, and he is not a conspiracy theory guy, he's a numbers guy,
Yeah.
but he has this belief that all of the bad stuff that has happened to the Flyers and Sixers over these last 15 years started in the summer of 2010 when the name of the building went to Wells Fargo Center.
Yes.
I mean,
Now-
it's a cursed building.
Now that it is gone, now that they will have a new name,
Xfinity Arena, right?
do you think maybe the luck will change for either or both teams?
I'll let you take this one, Jamie.
It can't really get any worse, right?
Right?
Sure
Yeah.
can.
I mean, the Wings have won there. Villanova basketball has won there. Who else
The
we got?
Soul.
In? The Soul. We're a powerhouse in there. But the 2 major sports teams are more or less cursed in that building.
The Phantoms won their second one in that building,
They
right?
did,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it was during the lockout, so they were
Yeah.
using the big building, yeah.
I will say it
a
has
good
to get
theory.
better because it can't get worse.
Sure.
So the Xfinity Arena, we welcome you with open arms.
Xbox.
Xfinity
Or-
Mobile Arena.
I like
excuse me.
that.
Someone on
Ooh.
new Twitter said it. I don't remember who it
On
was.
new Twitter? That's
I
what
can't-
we're like
X where it all goes down.
I can't take credit, but it's my favorite name
The
for it.
Xbox,
That's not
so far.
bad.
The
That's
Xbox.
not bad.
Yeah.
The Xbox.
Yeah, so we'll get better.
I'll say
Has
this. Will it get better before the new building?
Ooh.
When is that happening?
31.
Oh my God, that doesn't even sound like a real year.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
better get better by then.
It better get better,
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
agree.
that's Hopefully, because like the chances of 2031 occurring are like 50-50.
Seems slim at this point. Yeah.
So it's like I'm really hoping. I think this is how I decided it really that the Flyers fans have had it harder. In the last, let's call it 12, 15 years, what is your fondest memory of the 76ers? I'll throw it to Devon and Jamie.
Fondest
like, what
over
is
the last
let's say since 2011.
2011.
Oh man,
Wow, fondest memory. That's a tough one.
I
Because
think
it's shaded with so many bad things, but like good stuff has happened.
I do want to say 2021 Game 5 against Boston in Boston, but then they came back in Game 6 and spit it up.
yeah.
But that Game 5 was that series. Game 1, James Harden. Game 4, James Harden. Winning those two. Game 1 without Joel Embiid. That was unbelievable stuff. And then Game 5 happened where Embiid and Maxey go for 33 and 30 respectively. Harden has a really good floor game. That was tremendous. So it kind of basically encapsulates the Sixers. You have all of that.
Yep.
And then you get to Game 6 and Game 7 and can't close
Mine
the
was
deal.
similar, but it's probably when they got Harden.
That was huge.
I was a full believer in the move. I thought it was the best situation they could do.
Yep.
It renewed some optimism for me, and then it all came crashing down. But I think when they got Harden might have been like my peak, like this is going to be different.
All right, so
We got one of the best
real fast
ball
because
scorers
Bill
ever.
has to get
Yeah,
we
wind
gotta-
this up. What's the worst? Just fast.
I mean, the Kawhi quadruple bounce, I dropped to my knees, put my hands over my head.
That
and
was real bad.
That was-
even for me.
But see, the only one that
Mother's
the only-
Day was
the
probably
reason why
the
that
worst.
doesn't bother me as much is because that was still technically early.
Sure.
There was so much time.
Yes.
Then it was
that
Game
early.
6.
All
It was
right,
Mother's
So
Day.
for me, it was Game 6 against Boston.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with a close Atlanta Hawks, you are the number 1 seed and you lose that series.
And the Ben Simmons pass
Best
up
and
dunk.
worst
Whoa.
post 2010, Kelly, for the
Post
Flyers.
2010?
Yeah, like because we can't, like, yeah, man, the 2010 run, like the Boston series, all that.
Has
but
anything good happened?
Not really. I would say
Pick a moment.
Drew's shift against Crosby to win
That
Game
was a
6,
good one.
and
That
then
was
the
awesome.
first round,
Okay.
and then they get killed by the Devils round
Lavi
2.
called him the best player in the world, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Playoff
And,
hockey is awesome.
It is. I miss
Drew's
it.
hat trick against the Rangers to get into the, what was that, 2018?
His overtime game winner in the outdoor game. That was,
That was-
fun.
I feel like because they don't have the major disappointments, it's easier to remember the highs than it is with the Sixers.
I feel like
Because it's like, and then
zero
followed up
highs.
by, it was like, yeah, those Flyers teams were no good, so I get to just, like, yeah, Drew's hat trick on the last day of the season, it was cool. They were never going anywhere anyway.
Drafting Michkov was.
That's
That's the
huge.
first time in a long
I
time
was
I
at
felt
the-
like something resembling joy.
I was at
yeah.
the Jason Kelsey event in
Something
Sea Isle for
resembling
that, and like people ran up to me as I'm working,
That's
and
cool.
they're like, "They did it! They did it!" Like that.
Someone-
That really
They did it.
felt like it was. Yeah.
Someone picked me up at the draft party. They were so excited. It was alarming.
Good times. Can we
All
get
right.
some wins now?
All right,
what
let's
we need.
Get some wins.
I want to
Nail this pick.
I want to have this debate over whose championship parade was more fun in a couple.
I
of
wanna
years.
Well, I was
do
just
that.
gonna
That would
say,
be nice.
you talked
right?
about who had it worse the last 10 years. Who's going to have it better the next 10? I
just feel
have
like-
to put my faith in the Flyers.
I think so,
more than
too.
the
Really?
Sixers.
I just
Yeah.
think because the
I think
Sixers
so.
are on
Yeah.
the like, it's going to take.
Yeah.
At least there's
Like
this
one's
hope
going
for the
this way
Flyers
and one's
now.
going this way.
Yeah.
All right,
So
and with-
I'll be wanting to come on your show soon.
Absolutely.
Yay. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
And with that, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for
That was
hanging
fun.
out. The Streamathon does not end.
Don't go anywhere.
Coming up next, we have the Draft Hour with Bo, Fran, Charlie,
I'm looking
and Derek.
forward to this one.
Good
That
times.
is going to be a ton of fun. I am going to poke my head in the background, give Charlie bunny ears and stuff.
Can you
I'll be
name
shooting on the Papa
Charlie's
shot.
biggest hit and miss of recent drafts? Like, is there one that comes fresh to your mind where he nailed it or he
Ooh,
missed
he
it?
loved Joel Farabee. He
did.
loved, like, that was when they drafted him. He was like, that was the guy I wanted. All right, so stay tuned for that. I'm trying to think of any hits. Like he definitely had he was all about Mishkov.
Yeah.
When we were like, they're not going to take the freaking Russian who ain't coming over. He was like, they will. They love him, and
And they got him over.
it all worked.
Insider.
All right, that's all
Yes,
the
he
time.
is.
Make sure you're following us right here on the YouTube page. Hit subscribe. Hit that reminder bell. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I'm Bill. That's Kelly. That's Devon. That's Jamie.
Thanks for having me, Flyers
Be
fans.
excellent to each other.
That was fun, y'all.